right here. Oh, Brittany Griner not going through body.
The viral chaos. Catch a dime, family. If you are relying on mainstream media networks to tell you what's actually happening on the hardwood, you are missing the real chess match. If you thought the WNBA was just about basic box scores and lazy drama storylines, you missed the most important tactical war of the season. We're talking about Sophie Cunningham completely breaking her silence on the high-stakes matchup against Brittany Griner.
You know, I think that C is an aggressor, I think AB is an aggressor, I think Kelsey's an aggressor.
Notification bell sound. For the 84% of you in our Catch a Dime community who know that defensive leverage, half-court positioning, and locker room chemistry are the true leading indicators of a championship roster, hit that bell. While the talking heads on television are chasing surface-level clicks, we are looking at the genuine analytical reality of the league. Sophie Cunningham didn't just speak on matching up against the league's premier 7-foot anchor. She pulled back the curtain on a deeply calculated defensive blueprint.
Sometimes the energy is low, so you have to go out there and kind of be the aggressor and bring the energy up.
Today, we're breaking down the hidden tracking data, the coaching adjustments, and the exact physical fronting strategies that the front office wanted to keep behind closed doors. The physical front line and the media illusion. To truly understand the sheer magnitude of what Sophie Cunningham exposed, we first have to ground ourselves in the tactical reality of matching up against Brittany Griner in the modern space. Griner isn't just an elite defensive anchor, she is an entire structural ecosystem. When opposing offenses attempt to run standard pick-and-roll action, split cuts through the lane, or baseline drives, her mere presence fundamentally forces massive structural adjustments from the coaching staff. For the past several weeks, mainstream media outlets have claimed that the defensive coverage on players driving the lane has crossed the line from highly competitive to overly hazardous. The public narrative spun by national analysts was incredibly simple. The league's interior enforcers were setting out with a rogue agenda to intentionally target and ground high-profile perimeter threats. But professional basketball isn't played in a sanitized television studio. It is played in the brutal margins of leverage, positioning, and psychological warfare. When Cunningham stepped up to the media microphone, she flat out rejected the notion that this matchup was driven by personal animosity, rogue plays, or dirty tactics. Instead, she pointed her index finger directly at the strategic blueprint established in the film room.
But when they already have it, you just gotta, slide right in and don't let the game drop.
The mainstream narrative desperately wanted a villain. They wanted to claim that the defensive stance on the interior was an unchecked, rule-breaking approach designed purely to intimidate opponents. But Cunningham's breakdown revealed the exact opposite.
When you have 3 elite players like that who all can, dominate a game and take over a game, it's really just up to you. So when you get the ball, you can do what you do.
It was a highly disciplined, completely legal zone trap adaptation designed to exploit spacing limitations and cut off elite passing lanes. Clogging the nail, the film study. Let's go directly to the tape to see exactly what Cunningham is talking about.
I'm just trying to keep the main thing is that's basketball, trying to win games, sticking up for my teammates.
Look at this possession from the second quarter. Notice how the offense attempts to establish an early drag screen to force the big out of the drop coverage and directly onto the perimeter. In standard textbook sets, a perimeter defender would drop over the top of the screen to prevent a pull-up jump shot. However, look at Cunningham's positioning on the weak side block. Instead of staying glued to her primary assignment in the corner, she completely cheats off the ball, positioning her torso directly along the charging lane. This isn't an accident or a lapse in coverage. This is a deliberate, highly calculated tactical adjustment known in professional circles as clogging the nail. By dropping down so aggressively into the paint, Cunningham intentionally forces the offensive ball handler to make a split-second high-stress decision. Either challenge a collapsing wall of multiple physical defenders down low, or kick the ball out to a heavily contested perimeter shooter on the wing.
And I'm kind of the tweener is what they call me. We kind of have a weird age gap. We have some oldies on the team. We have some young bucks.
Sophie revealed that the coaching staff's absolute, non-negotiable priority was disrupting the offensive player's pivot foot before they could ever establish deep post positioning. When you are matching up against elite size and length, you cannot afford to play passive textbook defense. You have to initiate legal contact before the offensive player gathers their steps. If you let a dominant post player establish deep positioning with their footing set, the possession is strategically over. Player talking. Sophie Cunningham post-game media availability.
Just trying to keep a level head on everyone, but I also think that we get to play basketball for a living.
The silence she broke wasn't about locker room gossip or personal friction. It was an elite competitor pulling back the curtain on how high-level basketball is actually orchestrated behind closed doors. She made it clear that every hard foul, every contested box out, and every intense baseline collision is thoroughly planned, thoroughly analyzed, and flawlessly executed according to analytical models. Section 4, the front office. Paradox and coaching clash. This brings us to the most fascinating unspoken layer of the entire situation: the structural friction between on-court execution and organizational brand management.
We're in the grind right now and it feels hard, but at the end of the day, we get to dribble a ball for a living, so we got to be grateful for that.
While coaching staffs demand absolute, unyielding physical grit to win the grueling battle of interior analytics, front offices are operating under completely different macro pressures. The modern WNBA is experiencing an unprecedented, historic explosion in global growth, commercial investment, and primetime television viewership. From an organizational standpoint, the priority is maintaining a fluid, high-scoring, aesthetically pleasing, entertainment-driven product. When high-stakes games devolve into grinding, physical half-court battles defined by heavy paint congestion and physical standoffs, it conflicts directly with the fast-paced, high-octane aesthetic the league office thrives on marketing. If you execute the highly physical game plan required to neutralize elite size, you run the risk of drawing heavy whistle volume, slowing down the pacing of the television broadcast, and drawing heavy public scrutiny from national commentators. But if you play soft, concede the paint, and avoid contact just to look good for the cameras, you lose the game on the scoreboard. Cunningham's public statements effectively highlighted this exact tension.
We just empty offensive possessions. We were sloppy defensively. They just outworked us, and that is something that we don't want that in our DNA.
By standing firmly behind the defensive execution of her squad, she implicitly sent a clear, unyielding message to the decision-makers up top. The players on the floor will never compromise their competitive edge or alter their defensive identity just to appease sanitized media narratives. Lockdown chemistry and the catch-a-dime verdict. By standing up to the intense interior pressure and speaking out with total tactical transparency, Sophie did something far more crucial than just explaining a film session.
I think we just shot ourselves in the foot. I thought we played pretty good in the first half, and so I think you're going to see some spunk from us.
She protected the internal identity of the locker room. In the modern era of the WNBA, where social media noise and outside narratives can easily fracture a team's focus, having a veteran willing to anchor the team's culture is priceless. Notification bell sound. When Sophie stands up for her teammates on the court, fights through screens, and absorbs the physical brunt of interior defense, she is securing the space needed for the perimeter stars to operate with absolute freedom. In previous seasons, rosters often felt like a mere collection of talented individuals. But in the current era, thanks to a friction and fun philosophy, they operate as a single, unbreakable unit. They are protecting the culture asset they've built from the practice facility to the post-game podium. So here is the catch-a-dime verdict. Sophie Cunningham's breakdown completely proves that the league has entered a golden era of tactical sophistication.
Right, we have a fun group, we have a goofy group. There's a lot of great players who are still not in the league, and so you see the W growing and a bunch of really great athletes.
These high-intensity matchups aren't personal grudges or rogue physical attacks. They are master classes in elite basketball strategy. She is an indispensable weapon because she ensures the team never loses its physical edge or its mental resilience under the bright lights of the national media glare. Drop a dime in the comments if you think Sophie has the highest defensive IQ on the floor. Hit that like button and make sure you are fully subscribed with that notification. Bell turned completely on so you never miss our daily film room breakdowns. We are tracking the chemistry, the strategy, and the locker room assets that build true champions. Catch a dime? Out.